Moving on them.
Moving on them.
Moving on them. Moving on them. Moving on them.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Armin Ron D.O.P.
Yo, this beat's rather funky.
Indeed it is.
Shall we?
Who shall begin?
Flip a coin.
Heads or tails, we'll see.
After you,
No,
Ra.
after you, D.O.P.
Yippee, yippee, yay, yippee, yi, yi, yo. All praise due to the kings of TKO. This is a temple that I like to flow to, and only Armin Ra knows the heights that I go to. Cause I'm a little different than the rest. Instead of an S, I got hair on my chest. 5'6", and it's hard to conceive it. I give out more knots, and even Ripley can't believe it. And girls, that's another can of peas. They want more fresh rhymes from D.O.P. Mom, please. Light skin complexion and nicely built. The only potholes in my lawn are from the MCs that I killed. Don't get unruly, cause if you knew me, you know I wouldn't hesitate to bust you with my toolie. So if you step with the proper ballistic. One false move, oops, another statistic.
Trustful, lustful, libido. Keep a Jimmy hat inside my tuxedo. Yo, what do you know? TKO is on a go, incognito, low pro, lady to flow. Armin Ra, the star is shining far and up to par. So MCs you wanna spar, and like a fight, I throw a funky hook like this on 'em. Moving on 'em. Moving on 'em.
Yo, listeners, what it do, man? It's Shotgun. I'm back again. I got my man Wallamo in the building. You know what I'm
Peace,
saying?
God.
What's up with you, cuz? You all right today?
It's all good, son. Knowledge born. What's popping?
I don't know it, man. It's a different perspective podcast. We doing what we normally do. You know what I'm saying? We got another.
What's the deed for the day?
Shit, we got an epic one. You know what I'm saying? We got Armin Ra Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? Niggas know who that is.
Cipher.
Two Kings in a Cipher.
TKO.
You know what I'm saying? Also, one of the bad boy hitmen. You know what I'm saying? Brought y'all them hits by Biggie, by Mace, by Black Rob, by Faith. You know what I'm saying?
Faith Evans.
Right.
Yo, the list is long.
It's
That cat
crazy.
got
Luther, Beyonce. It's no way
Word.
you don't know his work. You know what I'm saying? You might think you don't know it, but you know it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think our listeners is gonna even think they don't know it. Niggas know what time it is, man. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna hold them up today. You know what I'm saying? What you got with that notable quotable?
All right, today's notable quotable, like I said, son, whenever we messing with, the legends,
Right.
I try to bring something to the table that represents the era that they come from. So, being that he one of the original bad boy hitmen, we gonna go ahead with that Flavor in Your Ear remix, Biggie, first verse, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, today's notable quotable, Flavor in Your Ear, the remix, Biggie.
Let's hear that.
Niggas is mad. I get more butts than ashtrays. Fuck a fair one. I get mines the fast way. Ski mask way. Ransom nose. Far from handsome, but damn a nigga toes. More guns than roses. Foes shaking in they boots. Invisible bully like the gooch. Disappear. Vamoose, you're weak to me. Take those rhymes back to the factory. I see the gimmicks, the whack lyrics. The shit is depressing, pathetic. Please forget it. You're mad, cause my style you're admiring. Don't be mad, UPS is hiring. You should have been a cop. Fuck hip-hop. With that freestyle, you're bound to get shot. Not from Houston, but a rapper life. The cat's about to pop. No doubt. Everybody and their mama know that verse right there.
No doubt, man. That's how we do it on the pod. You know what I'm saying? A different perspective. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it. So what we gonna do, man? We just gonna anything you need to say to the people before we let them get into this episode?
Nah, fam. Just keep hip hop alive, and we do this for the culture.
Word. And it's Thanksgiving weekend. Celebrate that in a traditional sense. But the energy's out there, so I still, I use the energy for what the energy is for. But y'all gonna be the
shoot a gobble to the niggas out there.
Gobble
Gobble to the listeners.
Right. After y'all get finished eating and y'all lay back, you know what I'm saying, listen to the podcast, man. It's the perfect time, you know what I'm saying? Sit back, throw your beats on or something, you know what I'm saying? Put them on your ears.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention?
Lucid Network presents a Different Perspective podcast. You're now tuned in.
Guess we can just start right, wherever you want to pick up at. Let's start. A lot of people, kind of their memory of you starts at Two Kings in a Cipher, but it goes way back further than that. So let's just, start at the beginning.
Wow, the beginning. Well, I mean, I started off, I guess like everybody else, wanted to be a DJ at the beginning and then becoming a rapper, and then for me eventually becoming a producer. But I was involved in local rap groups growing up as a kid, like 13 years old, and watching hip hop grow in New York City where I grew up.
Right.
So I kind of wanted to emulate what the older guys were doing. So so I was involved in neighborhood groups, and the guys like Kid and Play and Herbie Lovebug, those guys I grew up with in my neighborhood.
Right.
And, one thing led to another, and then I eventually went to college. I had to find like a different path because when those guys started bubbling and started doing their thing, I had to find a different route because it wasn't quite my turn at the time.
Right.
It wasn't, I didn't see fit for me at the time to be an MC. There was no room. I mean, there was room, but it was like everybody was doing their thing pretty much.
Right.
Everybody partnered up, and then but I kind of like fell by the wayside. It was like, I got to do something with myself. So I went to and that was like one of the best things I could have ever done because when I got there, it was like, sort of like a rebirth for me because I ran into a lot of cats who were influential in the music game later on down the line.
Right.
I met my partner, Angeletti, and we formed the rap group Two Kings in a Cipher.
Right.
And so many people that I was in school with that when that wave of the late 80s, early 90s came into play, when a lot of guys left school, they were in positions.
Right.
So that kind of helped me a lot as a, from an MC going into a producer. But when we formed Two Kings in a Cipher, we put out an album which didn't really do too well at the time.
So hold on, not to interrupt you, but I want to back up with the Herbie Lovebug thing because I think we're missing a chunk. So you and him were in a group, right?
Yes, we was in the group together.
What was that group?
Yeah, it was called the Super Lovers. I was in a group called the Turnout Brothers. Yeah, I was in a group called the Turnout Brothers, and he was in a group called the Quicksilver and the Super Lovers. So, but eventually the Turnout Brothers broke up, and then I became a part of the Super Lovers. And then we put out this record. We put out this song that was called The Lover's Law. It was an independent song. Yeah, it came out independent.
I don't want to miss that, those nuggets, man, and because that's definitely an intricate part. I know you probably is going to double back to it because everything ties in, but I definitely don't want to miss that because for us, early hip hoppers, you know what I'm saying, like that whole Herbie Lovebug when he came with Salt and Pepper, and I wanted to ask you about that. With your hands, did you have hands in My Mic Sound Nice?
Yeah, well, I mean, I contributed to it. It was ideas that I gave Herbie because I was away in school. I was around go-go music.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Howard University, so I used to send him go-go beats, and then he would use them.
Right.
And one of the beats that I sent him was My Mic Sounds
Nice. Check one. My mic sound nice. Check two. My mic sound nice.
I wasn't hands-on on a drum machine to create the track, but it was the idea that I gave him to use the go-go. So, yeah, that's my contribution to that. And the foundation of I'll Take Your Man, I worked closely with him with the drum programmer to do that. And he finished that off and took it to the next level. And then I did the song called Hyped on the Mic. That was the first I actually did. It was a song called Hyped on the Mic. And he took the track and he gave it to them. And I finally got my first royalty check. And I went out and I bought equipment.
So what year we talking about? This was they were signing Next Plateau at this time, right?
Yeah, it was the Next Plateau. I was like my junior year in college at the time. And I saw my first royalty check. And I went out and I bought equipment with it. I bought an MPC 60 and I bought an M1 keyboard. And that's what allowed me to make beats for the two Kings in a Cipher project.
I just, like I said, man, I just don't want to leave those nuggets out because I'm a hip hop junkie, man. So to know that you know, even though, like you said, it was just your idea for that go-go loop, for those drums, like that was hard, man. And then even the drums that you talking about on I Take Your Man, that shit was hard. That was like, it was hard. That was like almost, it was kind of familiar to the Rock the Bells joint, you know what I'm saying? Like the drum pattern.
Yeah, well, that's what, that was the idea.
Yeah, that shit was hard.
That was like my favorite record.
Right, because I'm a DJ, so I had all of these 12 inches, you know what I'm saying? And I remember, like, when I heard that, I was like, yo, this is like that Rock the Bell. So, you know, just to be able to have you on the platform to talk to you, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm trying to paint the picture of, you know, I call it sonically though, man, because sonically though, you're a monster, bro, and you've been forever. So I'm just trying to paint the picture and connect it. But like you said, so you got your first royalty check from that, and then you bought the MPC 60. And you said in the M1?
Yeah, the M1 keyboard. Right. And I bought a Tascam 4-track machine.
Okay.
And when I was in the dorm room, I would make beats, you know, and a partner of mine brought this kid up to the room and introduced me to him, and he happened to be this gentleman by the name of Haq Islam.
Right.
Who worked for Philadelphia International Records at the time. And he sparked interest and wanted to manage us. So he took us out, you know, and Haq Islam, by the way, he's the guy who, you know, he found Drew Hill and he found Maya later on.
Right.
But, yeah, so he took us out to Philly where Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff made all those big records in the 70s.
Right, legends.
And yeah, we started recording out of their studio, and you know, we became part of that family. And but we were trying to release the album on the label, but they weren't really. They had kind of moved into the whole publishing sector of the business. Right. They wasn't really messing with music anymore.
Yeah.
So we had to have a home. And I just remember we were shopping our album like everywhere, man, and nobody would like bite at the beginning. And then finally, you know, Bahia Entertainment came along and they snatched up the album, and that's how we got the first deal.
Okay, and this is why y'all was still. This is after school, or this is when y'all still in Howard?
We were still in school. We were actually still in school.
Okay.
When that happened, yeah, we were actually still in school. And you know, we did one whole album. We released it. It was tough. It was hard. The record companies really didn't. It was funny because, you know, at the time, when you dealt with the label, that the guy, his name was Greg Peck. He was the owner of the label, and he didn't know much about hip hop. His thing was R&B. So yeah, they really didn't know what to do with us, and we had a hard time with the majors. It was BMG, and we had a hard time with the label. So basically, they just kept dropping the ball, man. It was tough. You know, we would be on the road, and they would put like maybe one CD in the store, and then we'd have like 20 people waiting outside to sign autographs. 20, 50 people, and there's only one CD in the store. Yeah. It's just like, you know, how you records when they set you up to fail.
Yeah.
So it didn't really work out well, man. But eventually the label got dropped, and when the label got dropped, then we got dropped. We were actually on the sophomore album.
So that sophomore album, it was done. It just never got released.
Yeah, we were working on it. We were like probably, I'd say 75% done.
Wow.
On the sophomore album. Yeah, and then
I also heard that that during that time you was at Howard, that you know, of course you was there with Diddy, and I heard that he wanted to release that record for y'all, or was trying to, you know, I guess he was interning at MCA then, so he wanted to take the record to MCA.
Yeah. Right. Diddy had came to me and asked me to put out the CD. And he said, yo, you know, when you get a chance, man, just let me hear it before anybody else could.
Yeah.
And, you know, I messed up too, man, because I had left it in my manager's hands to do the shopping for me. And I just remember running in the coffee after the album came out, and he kind of looked at me and was like, yo, why didn't you bring the album to me?
Yeah.
You know? And now that when I thought about it afterwards, I was like, damn, maybe I should have. But it was too late. Yeah. So yeah, we were all on that.
Right.
Yeah. But you know, things come around full circle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Still, you still wound up there. We'll get into that. But so okay, so y'all get dropped from the label, and then what happens next?
Oh, what happens next is so I'm working at the Marriott in Washington, D.C. I'm a bellman.
Mm-hmm.
And I had put school on hold. I didn't really get that finished. But I was really trying to figure out my next move. And then the R&B group Shy,
right,
they went to Howard. They had a big hit called If I Ever Fall in Love.
Right.
And yeah, it was like #1 on double platinum in the whole night. And they came to D.C. one time to perform, and I had passed my tapes up to one of the guys in the group, and he heard it, and he called me like 2 weeks later, and was like, "Yo, I want you to come out to L.A."
Right, to Cali.
The beats, and so he flew me out to L.A. And, you know, I vibed with him, and then he was like, "Yo, you should move out here. Let's get some shit popping."
Yeah.
So went back to D.C. and I told my boss. Gave me like a leave of absence. He gave me like 6 months, and I hopped on a plane 2 weeks later, and I flew back out to LA. And that was it. I never came back. So, you know, when I was
the rest is history.
So I'm out, rocking with the R&B group, trying to get it popping, and in the meanwhile, I'm doing my little side hustle, and then I hook up with Positive K, and I do a song for him, a song called It's All Crazy.
Right.
Yeah, it was one beat I did, man. Everybody wanted the beat. You know, it was Junior Mafia. Everybody wanted it, but I gave it to Paz K. He gave me the cash out. So
rappers, but I like it like something to me. This stop here ain't a hug to me. I rap it like mountain dust come a day, and give them girls dreams like bumping the bass. So come on.
It's all gravy. It's real, baby. Do what you gotta do when you gotta do it. It's all gravy. It's real, baby. Do what you gotta do when you gotta do it.
Right. So what I'm doing, I work with Positive K, and then I get a call, and Jimmy Henchman hears my beat.
Mm-hmm.
So he flies me out to New York. I'm hanging with Jimmy, and Jimmy sparks interest in wanting to manage me.
Now give me a timeline. What year we talking about?
This was like 95.
95. Okay.
94.
95.
Yeah, that's like 94. But then he got an artist named Sugar. Sugar is
Sweet Tea.
Sweet Tea. Right, the original Sweet Tea, right. Yeah. So she changed her and she was signed to Test Jam under Jam Master Jay.
Right, JMJ.
And Yeah, she has the track and give it to Sugar. Sugar freaks it, and then they put it out on their show soundtrack. And it was the second single to the show soundtrack.
Right.
After that song, How High. And so after that comes out, I'm about to sign the management deal with Jimmy. And then, Jimmy, certain things happened and it didn't really pan out.
Right.
So I signed the management deal. And so then getting back to Shine, before that, and I did a remix with Positive, with LOG and the Bulldog.
Right.
It was a song called Out of My Mind.
I remember that.
And it was a remix.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember. And he eerily, who, well, I don't know, I guess I have to say it the opposite way, but who sounded like LOG on that track afterwards? Biggie.
Right.
That flow that LOG had. You know what I'm saying? I can hear Biggie borrowed from that flow.
Wow.
Check out what the brother did. Went and flipped his head. Now my skin in the mid. When we started blowing up off the bed, he should have slid. But he got locked. Now he's rid of society. Jealous punks behind me, trying me. Why be? Gotta be a stupid. Gotta be hard. I try to be on, not like a fraud. Fresh like I'm George. Imagine being born in a small cell. You perform well, learn the law well, feel the raw hell.
I mean, go back and listen to that, man. But
yeah, I gotta listen to that. Yeah, and I did a song. I did a joint with this artist named Adore. This great rapper from out of Mount Vernon. All right. So now getting back to Shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so things didn't really work out as planned with them.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to go one way, and I wanted to go another in terms of the production credit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They had something amongst themselves, but they wanted to get everything 4 ways. But it didn't really work out with me. It didn't still work with me at the time, so I decided to just part ways with them. The 2 joints and just wanted something, new and fresh. So I left LA after a year.
Right.
And then I came out to New York. Came out to New York, and that whole Bad Boy thing was sizzling.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember I was talking to D-Dot, and he was telling me that Puff was starting this production team called the Hitmen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told him I wanted to do it. But Dot didn't really, he wasn't really interested at the beginning because he was more into the management side of things.
Right.
And I was more into creating the tracks. Him and I had a deal together where I would take the beats and he would shop them. And that's pretty much how we were shaking in New York City around that time. But he was just like, nah, well, you go ahead and you rock, you go ahead and you sign. So I told him, I was like, well, if I'm going to sign, you should sign too. I think we should do it together.
Right. Now, somewhere in between there, there was Alicia Keys. Mm-hmm. Somewhere in between there, you worked with Alicia Keys in her beginning stages. That was before Bad Boy, right?
Well, actually, it was at the beginning. See, what happened was when Hypnotized dropped,
mm-hmm.
they were the first ones to call. She called. A management call.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I started working with her. That's how that happened.
Okay, because I heard,
I'm the one that was instrumental in her meeting Isaac Hayes.
Right. That's what I was getting towards, because I heard that story about the track and with Isaac Hayes. So what happened with that?
Well, what happened was we were creating this. We was working on the track in my studio,
right?
And it was a sample driven record. And I told her, I was like, look, man, in order to do this right, we're gonna have to play it over, but we need to play it the way he did it.
Right.
Because I said the only way we could do it is we gotta find him to figure out how he did it, so it could sound exactly alike. And at the time, he was on the radio. He was on 98.7 KISS.
Right.
So his management put a call. It's a 98.7 KISS, and they hooked up a meeting with Isaac Hayes, and we sat up in a conference room up in Sony with Alicia, myself, and Isaac Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time during the meeting, he was just focused on her and wasn't really focused on me. You know?
Right.
So that pretty female thing, I guess.
And this was Alicia Keys.
So,
this was her first. There was nothing yet, right?
There was nothing yet. She wasn't even signed to Clive Davis at the time.
Right.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
But I explained to him the concept of what I was trying to do. Yeah, but eventually, things didn't really pan out.
Yeah.
They ended up doing a record together, by the way. Isaac Hayes and Alicia ended up doing a record. And,
same record?
Yeah, I was a bit... Same exact record, yeah, I did and everything. But the management screwed that one up. They,
Yeah.
They thought they didn't need me when they was just gonna rock with Isaac Hayes.
Yeah, it was still though, you know what I'm saying? It still was your influence. It's another one to look at. Yo, it's your influence. You know what I'm saying?
So it's my idea.
It's your idea.
Yeah,
It's your idea. Yeah. That's crazy. All right, so like you said now, you and Derek, you're talking, and you said you made a deal with him that you do the beats and he shop them, right?
Yeah, well, that's before we got with Bad Boy. That was our original. That was just two of us. Yeah, but when we came Bad Boy, we came together as a production team, as producers. Yeah.
So it's full circle now. Is this now because so he was more or less in touch with Puff during this time and found out what he was doing and called you to come join the Bad Boy joint now.
Right, exactly. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so you get to Bad Boy and what's going on?
So we get to Bad Boy and it's a whole lot of music, and I was trying to get in where I could fit in at the time, but it was just, Puff had to fill me out. I had to fill him out, he wasn't really, I don't want to say he wasn't checking for me, but it was just, he had his favorites, what I'm saying?
So who else exactly was it then? It was you? Producer wise.
It was me, Stevie J, Nasheem. Me, Stevie, Nasheem, and Derek. Chucky Thompson.
Say Chucky was around.
Young Lloyd, Prestige,
Okay.
But
and so like you said, when it came
so, I would say like a whole year, man, I pretty much struggled at Bad Boy with like trying to get shit placed.
Right.
And it just wasn't really popping, so I was gonna leave.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was about to say I heard you was tempted to leave at one time. But what was it like? What did you feel like the issue? I mean, was it just he was just picking favorites, or was it, what was the problem? Because I heard the famous MIDI room stories. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think one of the reasons is because, Puffy's stuff was driven through a MIDI room. That's what he made. That's where a lot of the stuff was done, and that was like everything got charged to that room. So it's like making beats at home, and the room is not making no money.
Right.
So if I'm giving him a beat tape, the beat tape's probably not gonna get heard because I'm not making beats in the MIDI room.
Right. Was it
I
just
couldn't get a vibe.
I was about to say, was it just you got a better vibe at the crib than doing it in the MIDI room?
Yeah, most stuff. I definitely did, because I was the type of dude just like, you know, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I start making beats. So if I get up early in the morning,
right,
you know, my thing wasn't a set schedule. I couldn't just be up all night and then I come home 6 o'clock in the morning. That I wasn't that type of dude. Right. It was just like, you know, I'd get up early, you know, and I just start working on joints. Like my schedule was just different than a lot of people's.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so so I played on a lot of joints and he passed on them, you know. A lot of records that eventually came out that he passed on. And so what I started doing after a while was I started going to the artists. I started going to like Black Rob and started going to Mace and those dudes, and I started playing on my joints. And they started recording because they liked them, right, you know. And when Puff, and then once those records got done, and when he eventually heard them, that's when he was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Then he started gravitating to them, you know. And then some of the joints he even used for his album. Eventually,
that's what I was about to say.
But
like, like what's one of the bigger joints that he kind of shunned, that he passed up on when you let him hear? He's like, nah, next, and then it wound up being a banger.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was the "Been Around the World" beat.
Been Around the World joint.
Record. Yeah, that was originally for me. Yeah, that did that record for me.
It's ridiculous how you put your lips on this. Don't kiss right there, girlfriend, I'm ticklish. And I be switching B's with a wrist full of G's, nigga, please. I'm the macaroni with the cheese.
Been around the world and and we been player hated. I don't know when, I don't know why. Why they want us faded, I don't know why they hate us. Is it our ladies? Yeah. Or drop the faded.
There's another joint called a joint called "I Love You, Baby" for Black Rob.
I get you back for dinner.
I love you, baby. No, you don't. You drive me crazy.
That's right.
I'll never betray you. I love you, baby.
Come on.
I love you, baby.
No, you don't.
You drive me crazy.
Since the last altercation, I've been going to sleep. See honey at the club.
Yeah, I gave to Rob originally. Yeah, I had played it for Puff originally. He passed on it, and then I gave it to Rob. And then once Puff heard it, and then he gravitated to that. And then, you know, he took that for his album as well.
So he's so like you said, that first year, huh?
Yeah, first year.
Oh yeah,
was pretty rough. Yeah. So when Big passed away, I had a talk with him, and then I was told I was about to bounce, and he was just like, "Well, just hold up, you know, let's talk, let's figure it out." He said, "Just put all your hottest joints on a DAT tape. It's called digital audio tape. They call it DAT. It's called CDs." So I put all my stuff on the tape, and then I gave it to him. And then he said he was going to change everything for me. So he changed it. And then, you know, next thing you know, all my beats started getting placed.
Wow.
And Dave and everybody started doing the joints, man. And it's like every time I went to the studio, somebody was writing one of my tracks. Yeah, and then things just started moving from there. It just started
like just overnight.
Overnight, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Crazy.
That's crazy. Crazy. So in the mix of that, like I said, man, your sound overshadowed, you know, a lot of them. Your sound just, like I said, it put a particular shape on hip hop. So what I want to ask you now, we're gonna come back to that time, but what were your? I kind of know about them, but what were your early influences that would start to show up in your production, like, you know, your early hip hop experiences that formed, you know, your style? Where would you, you know, say that comes from?
I mean, I would definitely say it comes from growing up in New York City, just being around different kinds of music and different cultures. You know, funk, disco, jazz. It's just a combination of a lot. I mean, we just heard a lot.
Right. And you had your brother was a DJ, right?
My brother was a DJ, yes. Okay. He was a DJ, and he was on that scene back then in the 70s, so I had access to a lot of those records, and I would hear a lot of that growing up. Yeah. Right. So, you know, a lot of the stuff that I did was upbeat, and it had that movement that made you want to get on the dance floor, because that's what that scene was for the 90s. Everybody was. Right. We would go to the club, we would touch records to see, you know, if you wasn't dancing, because it was all about the club back then. Right. You know, nowadays it's like a strip club. You touch your music in a strip club. Back then it was like you touched your music in clubs just to use jam for your joint. You know, so that's how we was making it. We would go to clubs and see what people were dancing to. So whatever we made, we wanted to make sure the beats they was knocking. And if you wasn't bobbing your head in your cheek, and you was dancing on the dance floor.
Right.
Yeah, that's what that was about.
So So during your stint at Bad Boy, it was a lot of work from outside artists other than Bad Boy too that y'all was working.
Yeah, I was fortunate, man. I was able to move outside of the whole Bad Boy system, and I started doing stuff with like R. Kelly and Oyster Dan and Private Night and LSG. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, I eventually, that actually kind of got me into that whole R&B thing, and, you know.
So there's tell me about the Men in Black joint with Will Smith.
Oh, yeah. You know, it was crazy because we were so hot that A&Rs would come up to us and they would cut us checks on the spot. And they would be like, yo, you know, we want this joint for our artists.
Yeah.
So show us a check. You know what I'm saying?
Just a check, just on the strength. Like, I know y'all gonna bring some heat. So here go a check.
Yeah, so they would cut us checks. Yeah, because they knew. That's you know, we was good for it. Yeah, we was good for it. And Jive came into they came into the recording studio.
Yeah.
And they had a check for me and D-Dot. I was like, yo, boom, we want y'all to do the Men in Black sound single. So I went home and I started working on it. And they paid me the front, positive the check is the whole nine. Paid me the front end.
Wow.
And you know, a couple of months went by, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with, you know, what's going on.
Yeah, you ain't heard nothing back from him.
Yeah, well, Will Smith left Jive and went to, I think he went to Sony, Columbia. Yeah, so in the midst of that, when he went over there, then he did the deal with Columbia, and that's how Broken Tone got to produce it.
All right. But once again, same concept, same idea, they just did it. But it was the same everything, right?
Yeah, I was like I said.
And y'all you got to keep the front end.
Keep the front end, yeah.
Which is nothing compared to what it would have been, but that's just still crazy that, you know, because in the industry today, it's unheard of for them to just cut checks like that. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Those are the good things.
Yeah.
Now you can't do that no more. Now you got to play. They got to record the song first,
right.
and then they'll take afterwards.
Right.
You don't even know if the song will make the album.
Right.
So they break.
Now what about the Jay-Z joint? How many I know you did Where I'm From. What other joints you rocked for him?
I did a joint called I Know What Girls Like.
Oh, that's right. Damn, how can I forget that? Right.
Champagne pop, cruise around the world till the damn thing stop. Cop Rembrandts, hang on, pay the lot. Can't complain, we ballin', true or not, man?
I know what girls like, I know what they want.
Well, that one, I didn't work with him with that one. Okay. That was a beat that beat was contracted to Puff.
Okay.
So Where I'm From was contracted to me and Doc.
Okay.
That was totally different.
So how did that one play out?
With I Know What Girls Like, that was contracted. I wasn't even there for that session, to be honest with you.
All right.
I don't have much recollection of that at all. I just making the track and then submitting it, and then after that, just product. Yeah.
So what about Where I'm From? So you was in on that session and everything?
Yeah. Well, that song, that was originally on the tap that I gave Puff, and he had passed on that one. And I played the track for the A&R with Rockefeller.
Hip hop.
But the crazy thing about it, the crazy thing about it was the track wasn't even finished. I did like a rough version of it.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was crazy because if you heard the track the way it was at the beginning, like, you couldn't do that today. You couldn't just give somebody a track like that and they'd be like, yo, I'm going to rap to it, or they're going to pay you some money. They want to finish pop.
Yeah.
So I guess it was back then. The track was just, it wasn't even halfway done. It was like it was just like a quarter way done. It says, for what, you know what I'm saying? So, and Jay-Z went to the studio and he did the lyrics to the song. It had no kicks, it had nothing.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? No bass, nothing.
Just basically that loop.
Yeah. But it was more than, exactly.
Yeah. That loop is that strong. That's just hot. He felt that. So he just did it to that, and then you came back and you added to everything.
Right, yeah. But it wasn't until after he put his vocals to it, and then it kind of gave me a direction on where I could take the track.
All right.
Yep.
That's crazy right there. So
and once he finished the lyrics, then I went in and I sat with the engineer and I did the production right there while the engineer was mixing the song.
Okay.
I did the production to the and I never do that. That's something that I only did that twice.
All right, what was the other joint you did it on?
Money, Power, Respect.
Money, Power, Respect.
And then I'm fine.
Sitting up in the trunk, starting to rap. And the hell is hot, because I'm here now, baby. It's going down, baby. Get the 4 pound, baby. And let off up in the nigga. Especially if he think he bigger. Get my motherfucking trigger. Can I get mine? Is it gone? DMX represent one time for the song.
Money, power, respect. You eating life. Money, power, respect. You eating right. Money, power, respect. You sleep at night. You'll see the light. Key to life. Money, power, respect. You eating life. Money, power, respect.
Those are 2 records that were done which had no production on the tracks whatsoever. And while the tracks were being mixed, I had to go in there and finish off the song.
Right.
But, what makes it dope is it gives you an idea of what the track should sound like once an MC is on it.
Right.
It's totally different than how we make the tracks now. Now it's like you got to finish the track totally and then hand it to an artist.
And you're right. And I was talking to my man about it the other day because that's how I used to do. I think a lot of producers back then used to do that, especially if you was in a group or something. You might go ahead and find a loop and just make a 16-bar joint or something and give it to your man and let him write to it. You know what I'm saying? That way, because I think that's more producing, because now you got the whole plate to play with. When you got the vocals on it, you can build around it. You know what I'm saying? And tailor it rather than just, I'm going to just make the sequence this beat up and then the MC just got to follow. I mean, it could work both ways, but I know what you're saying. And that's definitely dope, a dope process. No doubt. So since you said Money, Power, Respect, like how did that come about? Was that one of the joints that was passed up and you had to give it to an artist, or what was that? Did you come with that?
The actual skeleton of that was made was started off in the studio as well.
All right.
That started off for that one was done in the MIDI room.
All right.
But me and that was just stretching out the skeleton. And then we got stuck after a while. I left it alone. And God took it and gave it to Locks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then when it was time to mix, I got a call from the engineer. He said, we're mixing this song that has a locks on it. And I don't even think the song had a name. He may have said a name, but I wasn't really familiar with the name. So he said, you got to come in, you got to finish this song because it's not complete. I can't mix it. There's nothing to mix.
Right.
So I had to come in there. I had to come out of my bed and drive out to the city from Jersey. And I had to build the body of the song, of the track. Yeah.
And on the spot.
Slide. Yep.
Another classic. Money, Power, Respect.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, what other what other parts of okay, like how was it working with Biggie? I mean, of course, gotta ask that.
Yeah, now Biggie was a different MC, man. He was, Biggie was one of those rappers, man. You really didn't need to coach him.
Right.
He was so good, I mean, you want to be in there and giving your input, but for the most part, you got a lot of MCs, or artists who can actually bullshit without even being there,
right.
Or just even telling them a whole lot because they're just good at what they do, So Biggie, he was one of them, man, and when he wrote, the way he came up with his rhymes were definitely unique as well. Because he was one of the types that, the first to not really write his lines down on paper.
Right.
Just to be able to just memorize everything and to be able to spread it out. That was phenomenal to see back then,
Yeah.
So he was definitely a master.
How is it when the Hypnotized track, was he feeling that, or was that more Puff and he just rode the wave, or everybody knew it was a smash when you did it?
Yeah, he was feeling that.
Come on. Hot, sicker than your average. Papa twist cabbage off instinct. Niggas don't think shit, stink pink gators. My Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. Dead right. If the head right, Biggie there, every night. Papa been smooth since days of
I mean, Puff, I remember when that track first was done, we were out of the country somewhere.
Mm.
And Puff was like, yo, this song right here is going to be Biggie's first single. Before Biggie even heard it.
Right.
Puff, that it was going to be Biggie's first single. That was the craziest thing ever. I remember getting back on a plane, leaving Trinidad, and we going to New York. And he's just like, yo, this is Biggie's first single. So it was already mapped out.
All right.
So you already knew that.
So when you made it, was that did you make it with that intention for Biggie, or was it just another track and they Puff picked it like, yo, this is it?
Well, when we were those tracks, definitely. I mean, because that was the only MC we were thinking about.
Okay.
When we were in the studio, we were like, okay, because you're talking 96.
Okay.
Big was the big album.
Right.
Come out. It was Mace. I think he was just getting. I think he may have just gotten signed or just getting signed,
right. So
he wasn't really a major priority at the time. Puffy hadn't started working on his album.
Okay, so everything was focused on Big at that time.
Everything was focused on Biggie, yeah.
So let me ask you this: like when you do a track like that, like Hypnotize or any of the ones, do you? Because I know, like you said, with an artist like Biggie, you really don't have to coach them, you don't have to tell them, But do you normally have a vision for these beats that you try to implement to the artists once they pick them and tell them like, yo, I kind of felt like this on it, or you just let them do what they feel?
Yeah, well, sometimes it depends. If you like me, I kind of like want to see what they're gonna do first.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see what they feel, or at the beginning, you kind of give them an idea of how you feel, how you may want it to go,
right.
And then you kind of give them room to be able to just marinate with the information that you give them, or we kind of meet together, meet to like a medium or something, right. To see if we can create something unique.
Right. I feel
Yeah.
Right. So around the time that, like you said, when he started going ahead and accepting all of your tracks, you know what I'm saying, and getting them placed, this was close to the time that he started working on his album, because you got a lot of placements on his album. So how was that process of working on?
We started working on it. That's when it started picking up. Yeah.
Okay. And then coming in around that time, also, like you said, after Biggie, you know, well, not after, but during and in between, or whatever, like you said, now Mace had just got signed, you know. So what about, like, how was it working with them? Because I remember I heard also that it was a track that you did for Mace that Puff there was a struggle about, and Mace fought for that track, and it wound up getting placed on his album.
Yeah, it was a song called "Do You Want to Hurt Mace?" Yeah. Puffy didn't really like that song too much.
Do you really want to make me cry? Or is it really that you envy Mace? Or you don't really want to see me fly? Do you really want to hurt Mace? Or do you really want to make me cry? Or is it really that you envy Mace? Or you don't really want to see me fly? And you don't want to see me angry. Ain't enough cops and cuffs to chain me. They still rain me, KKKs to hang me. Insanely, you need ice picks to bang me. Need more than a straight jacket to restrain me. Or more guns with my prints for you to frame me and maim me. Nigga, look at you and look at us. My guns don't fuss, Harlem bring it with a thrush. Nigga, you better hush, I could be inside the cage. Niggas still get touched. And them little ones you bust ain't enough for us. Listen here, Mesa make you disappear. And your mouth will be the reason that you missed this year. Man, who need you? You don't need me, I don't need you neither. That's why my next Lex gon' be a two-seater. And the things I do to you won't leave you beautiful. And though you feeling fuck me, I'm feeling mutual. Do you really wanna hurt me? Do you really wanna make me cry? Or is it really that you envy Mace?
It was one of the first songs that Mace had recorded. Yeah, and Mace was rhyming in a particular way that Puff didn't really care for, because Mace had a style that he back then he called he was in his group. I mean, they round a certain way. He was called Murder Mace.
Murder Mace, yeah.
The way
after leave our children of the corn.
Right, and what he talked about was pertaining to that. In this particular record, he was kind of kicking some of that stuff in there. And Puff had a different vision of how he wanted Mace to be. Right. And that record really depicting that. So, yeah, so that there was, if you listen to the album, that record is the last record on the album, because it's not really, it's a little different.
Right.
He's talking about all the other records. Yeah, so then that's what that was about. Okay. Yeah. So Mace scored.
So I'm gonna jump from Mace to Faith Evans. So, like, let me ask you this: what's the approach? I mean, is there a different approach when you approach the R&B hip hop record than compared to when you approach the Locks? What's the different approach? What's the different mindset, or is it?
Making the beats or coaching the artists?
Well, making the beats.
When I made that beat for Faith Evans, I had hip hop in mind. It wasn't really
different.
I didn't have R&B. Yeah, I had hip hop in mind. Right. And I'm kind of glad that I did that, because that's what I think, if it was too R&B, and they probably wouldn't have felt it.
Right.
Yeah. So it was just interesting to see that record turn into an R&B record, because I had no idea that it was going to be that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Faith heard it. She started writing to it automatically. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so
that's how that.
So you was there with us. You was writing, and y'all just.
Yes. Yeah.
That came together quick like that.
Yes.
That's what's up. So and what's her recording process like?
Well, Faith, she don't like nobody being in the room with her when she records. She won't let nobody in her
Word.
Yeah, nobody. I was one of the first ones. We actually sit in the room. We actually co-wrote one of the songs on her too, probably one of the few producers at that time to actually put out a song together with her. So it's called All Night Long.
Yeah, All Night Long, which is most definitely a great record too. So, so that was produced and co-written by you.
Right.
Okay, I know you had the production credit. I didn't realize. Is that the have you done a lot of co-writing besides that?
That was actually my first co-writing.
First one.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now I know you also. I'm skipping ahead, but I know you also work with like Luther Vandross. How was that?
Yeah. Luther, Areatha Franklyn, Beyonce. Yeah, now Luther that was an experience, man. That was really, shoot. I remember when. I mean, there's a long story behind that.
Yeah.
How I got to Luther, but it was really to be sitting. I was going for one artist. It was actually I got a call to meet with Clive Davis.
Right.
Right. He wanted to meet me based on a song that he heard. He was just starting off with J Records.
Right.
And I met with Clive Davis. This is before they had moved into the J Records building. They were staying at the Waldorf Astoria. So I sit down with him. I was at the end of the table, and he's telling me all the new artists that he has on his label. He has Alicia Keys, he has Luther Vandross, and he has Olivia, I think. Yeah, Olivia.
Okay.
I think those are the three. There's any of those three, you just pick one. So I chose Luther Vandross.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose Luther. He's an icon.
How do you approach that? Is there any intimidation there?
Not at all. I wasn't intimidated at all, man. I was just so happy to be sitting with Clive Davis.
Right.
That
had to be crazy.
No?
Yeah.
That's great to me, man. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. I said, I'm not gonna drop the ball on this one. So I found a young lady to help me write the lyrics.
Yeah.
And then she vocaled it up, and I submitted it, and then I got a call from the A&R, and he said, Joe, Luther wants to use the song, and he said, Luther's gonna call you in like 5 minutes. And then Luther called me, and he's like, yo, I really like the song. We going in the studio in 4 months. And he knew the exact day he was gonna be in the studio. That was crazy. He's like, December 26th.
Yeah.
Like the day after Christmas, such a time, and his factory. And mind you, it was like in August or something like that. And he was telling me that, like, he had a sick itinerary, like, mapped out.
Yeah.
And, like, he knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, and the day came, you went in there, and boom. You knocked out the joint.
I heard that.
Got my Luther joint.
Go ahead.
I got my Luther joint placed. Yeah.
So, and I heard about that recording process because I heard that you learned something new in that session. Or maybe not learned something new, but saw something different of how he recorded vocals.
Yeah. It was, because that's how they did it. It was from the old school.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking from a school where you didn't have Pro Tools, or you didn't have sampling machines.
Right.
So you would have to go in there and you would have to record your vocals live. So you would have like, you'd have your bass, you'd have your tenor, you have your alto, everybody just going to the booth at the same time, and they would sing their ranges all at once.
Right.
And they would just sing like 1, 2, 3, 4. And you just sing the chorus. And when I saw that, I was amazed by it because I never thought about how they actually did choruses back then. Because the way we did it
Right.
was we would stack them. We would stack 4 on a track.
Right.
You know, and then you stack like another 4 and another whatever. You know, so if you get like 3, you get the bass, tenor, altos, or whatever, and you just stack them on 4 notes.
They went in
4 different
and they
notes
all
together.
did them at one time.
And then you sample, right? And then you would sample it, and then you would like place the choruses where they need to be throughout the record.
Right.
Yeah.
Cut and
But they would do everything live. But the way he did it, they did everything live.
Right.
So there was no even though we had the sampling machines and all that stuff, he still didn't want to trick it down. Because that's how he's used to doing it. That's how he's gonna do it.
Yeah. That's cool. And I heard that some of the people doing those backup vocals, I know one of them was Whitney Houston's mother.
Yeah, Whitney Houston's mom's. And the chick, there's this girl named, her name was Tawaka Aggie, Tawaka Aggie. And she was the lead for Juicy. You know that song, Juicy?
Yeah, M2A. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the lead singer on that song. She was part of the group. She was also Luther's backup vocalist. And there was a dude named Fonzie Thornton.
Right.
And he also played piano for like Chic, like on Chic recordings and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, he's a talented dude, and he did a lot of stuff too in the industry. And there was like 2 or 3 other names that was involved.
All right, so let's.
But he kept around him, and they were his backup vocalists. Yeah.
That's crazy. So let's hop over to Beyonce. When you worked with her, and what year was this with Beyonce track?
That has to be like I remember maybe 04 probably.
04. Okay. So how did that one work? I mean,
well, it's a song that I did originally. The song was probably recorded originally the demo was done like 2002, 2003.
Right.
And so what happened was I get a call from G. Roberson.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it was Atlantic Records, and they had this artist signed, Sunshine Anderson.
I remember Sunshine Anderson.
She wants to use the song. So I said, all right, cool, we're going to do it. So we flew to Houston and Atlanta at the time. So we flew out there to record the song. And the song never comes out.
Right.
The song gets shelved for some reason. And so months go by, but I never signed a producer declaration.
Right.
They bring me my friend and everything. So about a year's gone by. And then the song gets to Beyonce somehow, and I don't know how the song got to her. And she's working on the Pink Panther soundtrack. And they put it in the movie and everything. And then I get a call that Beyonce wants to use it for Pink Panther. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I want to do that. But I'm talking to my manager, and he's like, well, they sitting on the song for 2 years, for about a good year or 2. They're not doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and give it to Beyonce. I said, okay, no problem. So they're saying, yeah, but you can't. You got to give a publishing. You can't have no publishing on the record.
Ooh.
And Beyonce wants to co-produce it with you. So I say, okay, well, I don't mind giving up a production, but I'm getting my publishing.
Right. Especially from anything with B.
Yeah, so then they say, well, and then they say, well, if you don't give your publishing, then the record can't get done. So I said, okay, well, it's no big deal. I just won't do it. I wasn't really tested to be out there anyway.
Right.
So I just finished doing way different with the man drugs.
Right.
I was like, I don't need that. So I didn't think nothing of it. So I just held off. So I was like, okay, well, it ain't gonna happen. But then about 2-3 days later, I get a call that they want to do it.
And they ready to agree to your terms.
Yeah, they agreed to the terms. Yeah. I was like, let's move forward with it. Yeah, and then we did the contract. Yeah, and the song came out.
Crazy, man. So, off of the music for a second, you do your documentaries. You know what I'm saying? Which is still music. It's just it all ties in. So through your documentaries, that joint you got about the DJs. So
Founding Fathers, yeah.
Yeah. So with Founding Fathers, it's like you ruffle some feathers with that, but it needed to be. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't know, they didn't know about Grandmaster Flaw, especially if you wasn't from New York and if you wasn't at a certain age. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm born in, I'm younger though, but I was born in 75 and I'm born in the South Bronx. So I'll be honest with you. I heard of Grandmaster Flowers and these guys that you had in the documentary, but I was still under the impression that they came later. You know what I'm saying? So that was a major step, for hip hop, and I applaud you. I didn't even realize it was you at first. I didn't realize that. You know what I'm saying? But that speaks volumes, man, and that's that knowledge that needs to get out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was very, very interesting. So is that something with the documentaries? I know that was real personal to you too, because like you said, your brother was from, you was actually out there at a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? And then like you said, your brother, he was there. So just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just something that I grew up witnessing as a kid. Like, when you in a certain area, you know who your local heroes are.
Right.
Growing up as a kid, I didn't really know who Kool Herc was. I didn't know any of them.
Right.
Because I didn't grow up in the Bronx.
Right.
And back then, things were so far apart.
Right.
It's not like how today, like, you live in Queens or you live in Brooklyn, it's like it's like a whole nother world.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, So we didn't know what was going on, just like they didn't know what was going on in our neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah. So it was only until later that we figured out who this person was, who that person was, So I wanted to kind of tell a story about what I had experienced, but it wasn't really anything to really diss anybody.
No. I know it wasn't. No, I know it wasn't. But like I said, people got the reason why they got their feathers ruffled, as I said, is because they've been setting this one story and for so long and made the world believe this one story for so long. You see what I'm saying? That then it's like, okay, where is this coming from? But the truth is the truth. It's undeniable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I know I got some flack from it, you know what I mean? But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But you know what I feel about you with that is, I'm gonna stand on the limb and I'm gonna say, God on the limb, you a diehard New Yorker. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. And that dawned on me actually last night. I was on your Facebook and I was looking at, because that's the other thing you do, your photography. You know what I'm saying? And I was checking that out, and you got all of there's two New Yorks. There's old New York and there's new New York. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And you got all of those old New, that's the New York that I remember. You know what I'm saying? That's the New York that I came up in. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think a lot of people, well, they can't forget it, but you know what I'm saying? It's just to see some of those photos was just like, wow, it's you really capture a particular time, and that time actually it goes hand in hand with hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
Through your photography, through your cinema photography, through your music, you understand what I'm saying? New York.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's not to, it's not to knock nobody, but that's what comes through in everything that you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Bad Boy also gets a lot of flack, as you know, for the ushering in the shiny suit era and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But regardless of that, the one thing I can say, the music was the music. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing about your and that was the other thing, because actually, and I heard you speak on it, and anybody that follows your production know your production was kind of grimy in the beat. And still, what you managed to balance and master was the shine and the grime. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Which once again is that New York shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, my shit was at the beginning. My shit was very soundtracky. My shit was like
theatrical.
My shit was very dark at the beginning.
Dark,
and I had to conform to the sound because I wasn't getting no work, and that was one of the reasons why I did it.
But I think that formula, I think that formula is what wound up working for you, because like you say, you're taking that real hardcore, that dark sound, you see what I'm saying? And then you taking it and you thinking like, well, I gotta polish this up to, you see what I'm saying? So it was like the perfect mesh, because it wasn't, like I said, no matter what people say about you're a bad boy, the music was solid. You understand what I'm saying? Like them tracks was solid, because it wasn't, I don't care if who's talking about what loop is obvious and this and that, it don't matter. That shit was solid. You know what I'm saying? And you can't knock that, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say y'all shaped the era, man, without a doubt. Let me ask you this, that I ask a lot of producers. The first question is, what artist got away? Who did you not do a song for that you...
The only rapper that I didn't work with was Nas, man. Like I worked with Rakim. Like I always wanted to work with Rakim. Then I worked with Rakim.
Oh, which joint you did with Rakim?
Yeah. I think it was the Master album.
All right.
Record called Uplift.
Okay.
And Uplift, and I forgot the other one's called That Real Shit. And then I did another song before that. That was supposed to be on the 18th letter, but that never came out.
All right.
Yeah, and then I worked with LL Cool J.
Right.
I was working with him. Of course, I worked with Big Pun. I worked with Terror Squad. Big Pun. I worked with World Series Computer Guns. I worked with. Let me see who else. I can't remember half of them. But now I came close to work with Nas too, man. It was a joint that he picked, but for some reason they didn't do it.
So that's still on the bucket list? Still on, you know what I'm saying? If the opportunity presents itself, we could get us a Nas, Amin Ra joint. So I think that would definitely be crazy. Yeah. I think that would be crazy. We need to petition Nas to just do a whole project with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That'll be hot right there. You know what I'm saying? That'll be hot.
Yo, listeners, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, man, as much as I did. We really just scratched the surface as usual, man. Man, Ron Lawrence, a.k.a. Amin Ra, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the brother's incredible musically and visually. You know, y'all got to get up on his documentaries that we didn't talk that much about, you know what I'm saying? He got that Founding Fathers joint, and he got that the Rap Dimensions joint. That's crazy. It's about the the early MCs, you'll learn something from that, man. You know what I'm saying? When you get a chance, Google that, man. The Rap Dimensions. You know what I'm saying? It's very interesting, man. A lot of us think we know a lot about hip hop or a lot about rap, and we really don't know. You know what I'm saying? The brother's bringing a lot of information to the forefront. So like I said, we kind of scratched the surface. Even with the music that he's produced, we only talked about a few things. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot more. And as well as, you got to remember this brother was from our conscious people. This brother was one of the first back in the early 90s, you know what I'm saying, lyrically dropping words like melanin, you know what I'm saying? That was going over all y'all niggas' head back then, you know what I'm saying? I need to go back to that Two Kings in the Cypher and really listen. But we're going to have him back, and we're going to go deeper, into a lot of things, into the hip-hop culture, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to get deeper into the conscious thing, you know what I'm saying? But again, I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. I try to bring y'all the best content possible. And I'm going to keep doing that, So remember, you can hit me up at shotgunbeats@gmail.com. That's shotgunbeats with a Z, not a S, @gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think. And definitely download and review. SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play. Whenever you download or you listen, man, leave that review, man. It means a lot. You know what I'm saying? Help us rise up on the charts. And, you know what I'm saying, and let me know that, y'all enjoy what's going on, and I can keep bringing y'all some more content, man. I'm going, man. Live life lucid.